guys, welcome back to another episode of the Drunk Pear podcast. It's Megan and Annie here.
Right, where every week we talk about the best and the worst of our daily customer interactions, as well as read the email submissions that you guys send in.
So I know that there's definitely some stories we're going to hold off on until our next podcast, but I'm going to start out this podcast with a banger. I had some shit today. I was trying so hard not to text you because I'm like, okay, if I text you all of them, then I don't get your, full-on reaction in the podcast, so...
True.
Okay, so, I swear to God, I got every shitty call, every pissed-off customer, and almost all my interactions were, 5 minutes and under. So I'm like, great, this is not helping my time, at all. Great, love this. Yeah. So, this guy, my first story for tonight, this guy's device was a 2009 model. For those of our listeners, at 5 to 7 years, you are considered vintage. Anything past 7 years is an obsolete product. So that means, if you need to do new repairs, it's going to be harder to find parts. We no longer manufacture them. They're just really fucking old. And, if there's ever any, software problems, there's a good chance it has something to do with the age of the device. It's just not handling the software properly anymore. So this guy called in either a couple days ago or earlier today. I can't remember what he said, and I don't remember the notes exactly. But he had called in and talked to a rep, and the rep completely reinstalled the software for him, and it glitched out. And allegedly, this rep that he talked to was a senior advisor. Senior advisor, again, all allegedly, this guy goes, the senior advisor basically sounded like he didn't want to help me and he was fed up. And so he pawned me off to one of your third-party locations, one of your service providers. And I'm like, okay, so you went to the service provider, what happened? He's like, well, they fixed my computer. I'm like, that's great. What can I help you with? And he's like, well, they charged me $65 to reinstall the software. I go, okay. And he goes, I want a refund. You're going to either give me a refund or you're going to give me a gift card. I'm like, okay, well, unfortunately, due to the age of the device, it is considered, obsolete. It's out of warranty by, years. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do. I do apologize that rep, got you started, but there are tons of situations like this with older devices that sometimes you do have to go in and have them serviced. And because it wasn't actually an Apple store, there is a possibility that they were going to charge you. Again, sorry if that rep didn't set the proper expectations for you. Apologizing up and down just because he's very much irritated and upset. Which I get it, but at the same time, it's a fucking 09 device. And he's like, no, that's not acceptable. You are going to give me a refund. I'm like, well, okay. So again, it's out of warranty. He's like, I don't want to hear that out of warranty bullshit. If I took my car to the mechanic, and the mechanic fucked up my engine, I'm like, oh, alright, we're starting out the morning a little strong, huh? Okay. He's like, if the mechanic fucked up my engine, they would go ahead and take care of it for me. I'm like, right, but if you took your car into the mechanic, you're going to have to pay for that service, and then if they mess it up, then they don't charge you. I said, but you weren't charged with us, you were charged through the service provider. He's like, but it was your mess up. I'm like, okay, so again, unfortunately, it's out of warranty. He's like, I'm not accepting that. I'm like, alright, cool. Well, let me go ahead and get my computer senior advisor on the line to reiterate exactly what I fucking just told you, but that's fine. So I tell the rep, and the rep's like, this is my first call of the day. I'm like, yep, this is only my second or third. And he's like, and he's just not taking the answer, and I said, no. He goes, I'm guessing that you're not a computer senior advisor. I'm like, I'm not. He goes, alright. He's like, give me a second. Mutes me. Comes back, he goes, sorry, I need to take a deep breath and have some coffee. I'm like, no worries. All good. And he goes, alright, bring him over. But I'm going to tell him exactly to the day how many days he's out of warranty. I said, it's not allowed. We're not supposed to stay on the phone and listen to your conversation. I said, but this would be one of those times that I would just love to. He's like, well, don't get in trouble. I said, don't worry, I'll disconnect, but have a great day and good luck. And I should have tracked the case so that I could then
Yeah.
go back later and see. But I'm just like, keep in mind, I also was clocked in for 10.5 hours today because I was trying to make up a few hours. And yeah, so 8 a.m., that's exactly what I wanted to be fucking dealing with.
I fucking
So that's
hate
my
that.
first story for you, Annie.
God. You're like, this is really painting a nice picture for the rest of the day. Thanks for cussing at me at 8 a.m. And my favorite thing is when they call and it's
that call
Pacific time for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Who's getting up at fucking 5 a.m. to call Apple? That's my question. Because sure the fuck wouldn't be me. Dude, what the fuck?
Assholes. Literally. I hate that. I'll look at their computer if we're screen sharing. Some old lady bitching about not getting her mail. I look, it's 6:30 in the morning because they're in California. I'm like, you aggravate me. Go back to bed.
My ass would be in bed. Not a fat chance in hell would I be awake.
Oh, God, motherfuckers. Well, that's annoying. I fucking hate when your day starts out. Because you're like, I'm just going to clock out. Fuck it.
Well, and then you're like, oh, I just went and got vaccinated. And so, I'd already been dealing with shit for a while. And I then had to take, an hour lunch because I was past my 10, hours. And so I'm like, man, I really don't want to fucking clock back in. And then I saw your name in chat, and I'm like, ooh, Annie came in.
It me. And then I left 20 times. I even said that VPN connection, though, or whatever, because it dropped 6 times under 40 minutes. And the team lead was like, just restart your router. And I'm like, will do. That's going to take about 20 minutes. I'll write an exception. It took 5 minutes, but then I just made lunch. And I was like, I'm not going back.
I don't blame you.
I don't have to. I mean, I already went in 2 hours late, and I still couldn't do it.
I just don't have the patience for it.
Just wish people would. I understand if they're pissed off, but the minute you start yelling, just who is that helping? No, absolutely no one. And now we're both.
It sure in the fuck cannot make them feel that much better either. I highly doubt they're just like, man, I feel great yelling at that random person with no pants on down in sweaty Florida. Okay.
They're like,
okay,
yeah, I
Jim.
just fucking ruined their day. Now I am alright that my doesn't work. AKA,
right.
Okay, how many people have you gotten where they're like, my dark mode is on? And then you're like, okay, let's see what's going on. And then the dark mode's not on, but it's the inverted colors through accessibility.
Yes.
Like, how the fuck did you even do that? My dark mode is on. I'm like, no, it's not. It's accessibility. And then they're like, oh, how did you know that? I don't know. I guess I fucking work here.
So there was one time that this mom and daughter called in, and she's like, my daughter's phone has a virus. Her friend took the phone and they watched porn and now it has a virus. And I'm like, alright. And that was one of the few times that my screen sharing actually worked. So I'm like, alright, let's see what this virus is. And it was inverted through accessibility. The colors were distorted. You know what? This girl, it was right when one of the big updates came out and everyone was into changing their apps and changing their wallpaper and the colors and shit, the themes and whatnot. And so she went in there and customized a color. And because then the mom took the phone to go through it. And so I hear the daughter snickering in the fucking background. And I'm just like, she knew exactly what this was. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. So I've had that happen once. Dude, I swear to God, some of these people are so fucking dumb. Extra dumb.
All of them. Oh, Christ. Alright, so I do have just the part 2 of last episode's story where I spent 2 days with this woman, 3 hours per day, probably sent me 6 or 7 emails in less than 48 hours. So before we even began, obviously I'm like, do you have a backup? Blah, blah, blah. Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you remember all your passwords to everything? Okay, cool. And she's telling me, oh yeah, I got all my work on my laptop and all this good stuff. I'm like, cool. So we're in the middle of doing the reinstall, which she made me sit on the phone for, and then made us do 8,000 things, and nothing was working. I didn't think anything was wrong. I'm like, okay, this is just gonna take for fucking ever. So then I get an email. Well, actually, I get an update on Core where she called in. So she didn't email me. She called in and changed her appointment from Friday to that day that she called. So I'm like, okay, this probably isn't a good sign. So I emailed her and I'm like, hey,
What's
the
up?
last email she sent me was, God is good, and with a screenshot of the end of her logo, or her logo, and the progress bar ending. And I'm like, okay, sure, or the update's done. So I emailed her, hey, what's going on? I saw your last email, hoping everything's good, update me. Next day, I get an email from her, like misspelled, really short, kind of sassy, basically telling me my hard drive is ruined. First of all, no, they just have to erase the hard drive and reinstall the operating system. Then she decides to tell me she doesn't have a backup. So she's saying that I made her lose 2 years of work. First of all,
my God.
shut the fuck up, because I asked you. She even went out of her way to tell me that everything was on her laptop, because she uses her laptop and her desktop for
You mean
work.
backed up? Oh, you mean everything that she would need is on there?
Yeah, she said it's basically a whole copy. She had like an external hard drive. She had all this other shit, because if she can't work on her laptop, she works on the desktop. And I'm like, congratulations,
Okay.
great. Because while we were working on the desktop, like I said, when I called in, she was teaching a class on her laptop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I call you back? No. Okay, cool. So
How were you supposed to be doing work on the laptop if she was teaching a class on it?
we were working on the desktop.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was like further proving to me that she was able
Yep.
to go on the laptop with all of her work stuff and all of her shit that she told me that I made her lose. Like, first of all, if that were true, yeah, I would be really upset and been like, I fucked up. But I didn't. And also, if it was that fucking important, have it backed up. Have an external hard drive. If you have 2 years of work just floating around on your computer, your 11-plus-year-old computer, regardless if I made you do the update or not, it was gonna die eventually. Like, what were you gonna do when your computer just stops fucking working? Like, God. But, so I emailed her back. Oh, she also told me in the email that the store told her that rep should not have had you update, because even though it was available on your computer can't handle it.
If it is available for your computer, that means your computer can handle it.
Right. And I told her, I said, I'm so sorry, but our training tells us, even our very first steps of more than half of our troubleshooting, update the fucking software, because why would we troubleshoot on old software? So I said, sorry for the misinformation, but the store is also trained. That's our protocol. Or, God damn it, the store is also trained. That's the protocol. It's number one step. So, fuck you,
Well,
store.
and think about it this way. If they had to talk to a senior advisor, that's the first thing that the senior advisor would ask. And let's say the senior advisor had to escalate it to our engineers. Same thing. Engineers would require that to be done. So, they literally would basically be like, fuck off, we're not helping you, do something fucking simple. So, no, you were right. So, the store can go eat a dick.
Yeah, I'm like, cool, love the misinformation. I swear to God, it's always from that. Oh, and today I called the store 3 times for some fucking guy. And every time it said, please hold, whatever, they would answer. I could hear the store in the background, and they would hang up. And I go, that's nice. Yep.
Oh my God!
Yep, even after saying the little prompt in the beginning to push us through, I was like, that's really nice of you guys. Long Island store, putting you on blast. Go fucking to hell. Ride a dick straight down there.
So she sent you the email. You said, sorry, the store's fucking wrong. What'd she say to that, or what happened?
She did not fucking reply, and I'm surprised because she was sending me 1,000 emails, so she probably wants me to die. And I was pretty sad at first, and then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, fuck you. If it was that important, back it up. Like, not saying that I don't care, but I am saying don't, because you're pissed off with yourself, don't blame me. Even though, and I asked.
Right.
Like, ugh. Yeah, that was fun. That was a really fun interaction, and 2 days of my life and 6 hours spent with this fucking lady that I had to just listen to her talk, and then I ruined her life, so I know she'll never forget me.
Hopefully she'll never fucking bother you is more like it.
You know, oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get back to that.
I was gonna say, you'll have to keep us updated in case more shit does end up happening. So, I'm telling you, I got nothing but fucking shitty, pissy customers all fucking day long. So, this fucking guy calls in, and, brand new laptop, so, like, I know that the laptop's more than likely not the issue, and he's like, hey, you know, I have this, government job, and I have this device I have to use for them to plug into my computer. I had such a heck of a time with my old computer, and I had to call, like, the IT department through my company. He's like, and I'm having the same exact issue with this device, with, like, my new computer. And I'm like, okay, you know, he's like, well, I already talked to a rep, and, like, we got disconnected, so I need to pick up where we left off. I'm like, okay, no worries. See, no notes, no call record, no nothing. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just, you know, do my probing and try to get this shit figured out. And I'm like, okay, well, can you tell me a little bit about what's going on? Unfortunately, I don't see the previous rep's notes. And he's like, okay, well, you know, as soon as I plug it in, it doesn't recognize it. I'm like, okay, well, like, is there a certain software you have to use for it? Like, since it's a third-party device, like, I can't do a whole lot, but we can at least, you know, try to do some mild troubleshooting. And he's like, yeah, I already downloaded the software, but the software says that it's only for your competitor computer company and not yours. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we have to download the software that's compatible for, like, this system then. He's like, well, they don't offer it. I'm like, there you go. Like, then it's, you know, can't work. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, well, the device doesn't even pop up. I'm like, okay, well, do you happen to have, like, another device we can try to plug in? We can make sure that, like, the port isn't defective or anything like that. And he's like, no, I don't have anything. I'm like, okay, cool. Love that. I'm like, so you don't have any other devices. You had to call IT last time. The software isn't compatible with your device. So what would you like me to do? And he's like, well, make it work. The rep that I was talking to told me that it would be working fine if I call back. And I'm like, what do you mean call back? I thought you were disconnected. He's like, well, like, if I had to call later and needed some help. I'm like, okay. So, like, then I was starting to think that maybe he wasn't disconnected and, like, that rep just said, we can't fucking help you. I'm like, okay, well, I need you to get to your IT department. Like, we need to start there. Like, if like, your device is having other problems, then we could troubleshoot it. I said, but because it's something that's government issued from your company, like, that you have to go through your IT. He goes, quit telling me to go to my IT department. I'm like, I'm sorry, but, like, that's what you're gonna have to do. He's like, well, there's this program that the last rep said that I could use that would work. I'm like, well, the program that they're referring to is not compatible with your machine because your machine is too new. And he's like, no, you're going to download that program on there to make my third-party device work. I'm like, I'm sorry, but as you even stated at the beginning of this call, you had to contact your IT department to help you set it up last time. You're going to have to do the same thing again. He's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, you're going to help me. And I'm like, okay, well, unfortunately you have to go through your IT department. And he goes, no, look, if you don't help me. And I go, sir, let me get you a senior advisor. So I call computer senior advisor and I explain the situation. And they're like, I shit you not. Like, I feel like this guy from earlier that was demanding a refund and this guy were fucking friends or lovers or something. Because their behaviors and the fucking interactions, I'm just like, I feel like I'm having fucking deja vu right now. So I tell the computer rep, like, what was going on, and she's like, okay. She's like, well, he has to go through IT. I said, oh, I know.
And he does too.
And she's like, she goes, well, he's not going to like my answer. And I said, he's not going to like any answer unless we fix it for him. She's like, well, we can't. And I'm like, I know. I know. And, so transferred him over. And, yeah, it irritates me that previous rep basically, like, gave him false expectations that we were going to be able to take care of it. Because, like, if the previous rep basically said, like, hey, go to your IT and then come back to us, and he did that, that would be different. But he didn't even attempt it. He just expected the world from us when we don't even make that fucking device. I don't know. I don't fucking understand it.
And I don't understand that either. They're like, when people call in with a third-party device and they go, but I'm trying to put it on your device. Okay, which device is having the issue? Not ours? Bye. Just because you're trying to put it on the fucking computer doesn't mean that those people are supposed to help you. Like when people call in, my Gmail, can you help me Google Chrome, my Outlook? No. Goodbye. We can help you with our shit. I can, like you said before, delete it, reinstall it, update it. Other than that, I don't even know. And I love whenever people call with the WhatsApp or something, and they're like, well, how do you do this? And I go, I have never used this app in my entire fucking life. And it's not ours, so I can't help you. And they're like, you've never used WhatsApp. And I'm like, no, because I pay my phone bill, and I don't have to use it. Just kidding. I know that it's for, like, international. But I'm like...
I wish you would say that. That would be fucking hilarious. No, bitch, I pay my phone bill.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But for real, I'm like, even if I did know how to use this shit, I'm not going to help you with it because it's not us. And if I fuck something
you would get in
then...
trouble because it's not in our scope of support. And then you would set false expectations, and that customer would call back and be like, well, the last lady helped me with it. So that's why, like...
it shouldn't have.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, okay, I gotta be careful about, like, what I touch and don't touch because, like, I'm not about to get in trouble for some dumb shit.
I know. Because I had some guy call in for Google Chrome, something that we had to find, like, in the extensions. It was kind of like how you could find it on Safari, but once we got past, like, me telling him, oh god, I just burped so loud, me telling him to open up the extensions, I was like, from here, I don't know, sorry, because I don't want to mess anything up, I don't know what this entails. I don't know how to troubleshoot Google Chrome, even though I do, but I was just like, no, sorry.
Right.
No,
well, the thing that sucks is that, like, Google doesn't have a 1-800 number.
No.
Like, I had one lady with Firefox problems today. I'm like, sorry. I said, go use something else. I can help you with something else, but Firefox, can't touch it.
I know, I love that. Well, what's the Google number? I don't know. We don't work for Google. Well, can you look it up? Can you look it up? Because you can. And also, you'll never get through. Google is hilarious because they don't give a shit about anything. They're like, oh, it doesn't work? Too bad.
The one thing I will say about Google is a couple months back, like right after I moved, my YouTube channel got deleted and flagged as spam. My fucking heart fell out of my asshole. I was fucked up for 48 straight hours. And I've seen plenty of, like, YouTubers, like, big YouTubers who, like, lose access to their account, and it takes months for them to get back. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't have a big channel by any means, but, like, I put a lot of fucking hard work into that channel. I have, like, almost 200 fucking videos that I filmed and edited. Like, to just lose all of that progress and hard work from the last 3 years, I would fucking cry. So I, like, obviously submitted it's like, if you believe this is incorrect, you can submit an appeal, and then we can review it. And so, like, I started tweeting at them. Like, I massive spam tweeted them, and I'm like, I was wrongfully terminated, I wasn't spam, I wasn't, I followed all your guidelines that you're claiming I violated, so on and so forth. And after 48 hours, they gave me my full-on channel back with a couple more subscribers, actually.
That's insane, though, because did they ever respond to you on Twitter or acknowledge any of that?
They said, if you've already submitted an appeal, we will get to it. Due to COVID, we're understaffed, blah, blah, dumb shit. And then, like, when I got an email from them basically saying that, like, they'll reverse my shit and give me my channel back, they're like, we apologize. It was I don't know, some they made up some excuse, but then they like never apologized or like admitted that it was their fault. I think it was something to do with like our systems flagged this and it was incorrect. And it's just like, just admit that you guys wrongfully did that. Like, I don't need anything. I'm not asking for a compensation or anything, but it's like, especially as a smaller channel, I feel like those are the people who care the most because
right.
they're like trying to grow and like they actually like care and they're not just, you know, paying someone to randomly edit their shit after just like vlogging them taking a shit. Like, I don't know, it's just frustrating because it's like, well, for real though, like there are some YouTubers that I've like every now and then will watch and it's like, alright, I'm gonna go get boba. I just had a matcha. I just thrifted, but I can't take you into the store. I've got to poop. I'm on my period. Have a great day. And I'm just like, how do you have like millions of fucking followers and viewers and sponsorships? And I'm just like, what the fuck?
You're like, oh, cool.
It's real life.
It
happens.
That easy. God.
Yeah, no shit.
I would have fucking freaked out too. Like, because you do so much editing. You get all those clothes together. You do all those videos, and then to wake up one day and do nothing wrong. There goes my soul, crushed. Good God, kill me. I know, that's why I'm always like, oh, when my Facebook got hacked, it was literally in December of last year. I woke up, and I am always like, oh, people don't get their shit hacked. That's so fucking stupid. Well, it happened to me, so I woke up, and it said something like, here's your verification code. So it was like a 2-factor. And I never entered it anywhere. And my email is from AOL Instant Messenger. So it was literally at aim.com. I have not had access to that since I was like 14. So God only knows who bought it or who's using it. And they changed my Facebook email and my phone number. And at first I was like, because it wouldn't let me log in. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Because I got the text message like 2 hours before I woke up. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, well, I wasn't on Facebook. So I texted a couple of my friends. I'm like, what does my Facebook look like right now? Can you look at my info or something? And it's like some random ass email showing up in the info. And then when I go to log in, I searched for my Facebook. And it pulled it up as forgot password. We can send it to whatever fucking email that was. And I'm like, how the fuck did somebody do this? What the hell? I've had this Facebook since I was like 13, 14, maybe not that young. I was in like 7th, 8th grade. But all my pictures, all my memories, whatever, like I still have a bunch of photos. But then I messaged Facebook and had all my friends report it. They message me back and they're like, send us your driver's license, send us all this shit. So I do. And the people changed my email again, and Facebook emailed me and said, looks like you got into your account, so you won't need your help anymore. And I'm like, that was not me. And then they just stopped responding. And then eventually whoever took over my Facebook deleted it because no one's friends with it anymore. I can't find it. And now I have like 10 posts, and I'm like, I hate social media sometimes.
That's funny. You should, well, it's not funny, it's tragic. But, so my mom had this boyfriend on her phone plan, and they broke up, so she took his phone number and the phone, and it still was, like, in a 2-year contract, so she couldn't cancel it, and so she gave the cell phone to my grandma. Grandma didn't know how to work it. She honestly didn't even use it. She just, like, had it. And so to try to help my grandma, I'm like, well, you know, now you have cellular data on it. Now you can, like, go on Facebook. Let's create you a Facebook so, you know, you can keep up with the grandkids. Created her this Facebook and everything. And so then my mom, you know, eventually canceled the phone number after, like, it was out of contract. But my grandma kept, like, the Facebook and the phone. All of a sudden, my sister texts me. She's like, what is going on with Grandma's Facebook? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, go look at it right now. Had some dude's photo. What? All my grandma's shit was deleted. Oh, no. Had all these new Facebook friends on it. And I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Come to find out, after 90 days of canceling a phone number, it gets recycled. So, like, then that guy became the owner of that phone number. And because he once upon a time had a Facebook, he tried to reset the password on his new phone number. Well, that phone number was still attached to my grandma's. So he ended up resetting it because he got the verification code to the phone number, changed everything, and started messaging, like, all of my relatives and, like, my sister. He was hitting on my sister. And, like, he would ask all the Facebook friends, like, who are you? Well, come to find out, I knew his son. And so I messaged him. I'm like, tell your fucking dad to get off my grandma's fucking Facebook. And so, like, I obviously, like, got rid of the phone number out of the settings, changed everything back, changed my grandma's shit back, deleted all those people. And I'm just like, and this guy, like, messaged me directly then, and he's like, I can't believe you hacked my Facebook. I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, here's my job of place. Like, come fucking show up. I wish you would. And
oh my God.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, when customers call in with, like, phone numbers, like, changing phone numbers and shit, like, I'm not surprised at, like, half the shit that people go through.
I know, that's
my ass
crazy.
has had the same phone number since 2008. That's why, like, if something ever happened, like, I would die because my number is on everything.
Me too. It was my first ever phone number. I literally got a phone in 6th or 7th grade because I started going to the movies, and all I would do is just call my mom and then give her the phone. And then when I found out how to text, it didn't even have a camera or anything, and I was like, ooh. But same phone number, and
Yes.
I don't ever want to give it up. I don't care what happens. I will stay with this shitty company. But I'm like, man, everyone knows this number.
Well, I mean, you don't even stay with the company. You can port it over. But
so you can do that? Can you do that with every company? Or
my number has been a track phone number to Verizon, to U.S. Cellular, back to Verizon.
Ooh,
so yeah,
okay, cool. Because we're going to Verizon because fucking AT&T can suck a dick. Even though we've literally been with them since Singular, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, this is my third ever number. My very first number I had for like a year, and it was a prepaid plan. And then because like it didn't get paid for 3 months, it got recycled. And then I took my mom's phone for a little while, and so I had her number. And then finally, I got a track phone, and then my mom was tired of us harassing her for minutes because it became expensive. So then she put me and my sister's track phone numbers onto a Verizon plan. And I've been with Verizon almost the entire time, besides like a year or two with U.S. Cellular. But otherwise, for the most part, I don't have any complaints. I mean, I've had so many problems with Verizon anyways, but talking about customer service, I don't know how many times I literally got like, and that's why I feel for some of our customers, especially customers who are nice, but like just get the shit end of the stick of the situations. Because it's like, I don't know how many times like I was transferred back and forth. Like there was one time with Verizon, I was talking to this guy, gave me all misinformation, which I didn't know any better. Gave me all misinformation, and then went to transferred me to the employee hotline. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I spoke to somebody different, and like they gave me misinformation, and I like financed my iPad through Verizon. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get this iPad, and then in a couple months the new 12 will come out, and then I'll finance those. Well, like, the credit was all sorts of, like, backwards, fucked up bullshit. And I go, figure it out. So, because we do the trade-in program where every year we'll trade in our iPhones and, like, get the newer model, every year, when the new phones come out, I have to call ahead, prep them, day of, if I have any problems, call them again. But, at the end of the day, like, everything ends up getting resolved and, like, works out. So, like, and I think there's been a few times I'm like, look, you guys have like fucked up so much shit, like I credit my activation fees. Like I think this last time, because of all the fucking shit show, we got all of our like accessories like credited off. Like our screen protectors and cases. Verizon is one tricky motherfucker when it comes to customer service. It's either you're gonna get the best customer service or it is a fucking shit show and you're gonna hang up and call back, hang up and call back. I think there's one day, shit you not, I think I spent 9 hours with them. I hated it. I hated and Yeah. And, like, part of it was just me on hold, like, on and off.
That's like whenever, oh God, what happened? Something that I had to call AT&T for, it was like my landline. It was out. It literally just said, I don't know what the fuck it said on the landline thing, but it was done. So, and I couldn't clock in, I couldn't get on the VPN. So, my old team lead was like, "We'll call them, have someone come set up service, figure out what's going on, whatever." So, I called, I think, let's see, I called at like 7 p.m. Hold for 4 hours. I was literally cooking dinner. I took out the trash. I took a shower. It's 11 p.m. by this time. I mean, I have to get people over or I couldn't work. This was like when I first started. So I'm like, fuck, I need money. I need to work. Can't have points.
Yeah.
I finally get to someone and they're like, "Hi, thank you for holding." I wanted to be like, "You're fucking welcome." Immediately, I think they saw how long I was holding because he was so awkward. He was like, like basically telling me thanks for holding. They really appreciate it. And then he goes, "What department can I get you to?" And I'm like, "I need help with my landline." I thought that I was in the right department. They told me, "Say the secret code word, landline or something, and we'll get you to the right queue." And he said I was put in the wrong queue, and the fucking department was closed. And I went, "Fantastic." And he's like, "They open..." I said, "I know what time they open." "Thank you for being so patient. We really appreciate you." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, please."
What other fucking choice do I have?
Call. Right, so I just ended the call. Then they fucking sent somebody out at the wrong date and the wrong time, so I wasn't there to get the report that they came and fixed it, and my team leader almost didn't believe me. And I had to get them to come back again. And I'm like, "Oh, you cunts." And they're like, "Well," I go, "how the fuck did they work on it if I wasn't home?" And they're like, "'Cause it's on the outside of your house." I go, "I didn't approve that. So fucking what if it's on the outside of my house? You didn't come at the right time or the right date. Like, fuck you." And I needed that paperwork, so send somebody back. And they're like, "Okay, sorry." I was like, "I'm done. Better not ever call you stupid idiots again." But yeah, fuck AT&T.
I don't think I've ever heard a good story about AT&T.
No, they're
like, even like when all of our customers and shit call in, like, it doesn't sound like anybody's having a good time.
Nope. And then
which, I mean,
they're like, well, honestly, the phone companies, every time somebody goes, "Well, I just came from there," I want to be like, then go right back, because I just had somebody call, their Wi-Fi calling wasn't working. So I go through all the steps with them. We get to
Wi-Fi calling is on their provider plan.
Right. So that's what I said to them. I go, "Has it worked before?" And they go, "Yep, this is a new phone." I go, "And did you activate it with AT&T?" "Well, we just came from them. They said it was you." I said, "No. So let me screen share with you." We go to Wi-Fi calling, turn it on. It says, "Enter your address for the emergency thing," with the fucking AT&T logo in the top corner, because it redirected us from our settings to AT&T. Then it says, "It doesn't match our files." Our files. So it's AT&T. And I told him that, and he goes, "Well, then I just get AT&T on the line because I'm returning this fucking phone." And I go, "My pleasure. I don't give a shit." So I called AT&T and dropped the line. I was like, "Fuck you." I was so aggravated. I go, "Why? That's not us. Do your fucking job."
That's funny that you said that, because there was a lady today, super nice to me though, after like we discussed things. She just switched from Verizon to Xfinity, and none of her calls were going through. None of her calls, none of her texts. But like everything on Wi-Fi worked fine in data because the SIM card was activated. And I'm like, okay, well, that means that like either your, serial number isn't activated in their system to connect to like the towers, or, she was telling me how she ported her number over, and I'm like, well, maybe they never actually finished the port then. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you like have to get back in contact with them. So because I have cellular, that's the one thing I enjoy, is because I have cellular experience, like firsthand working the field, so I know how that shit works. I'm like, here's what you need to tell them, here's what they need to check for, write this shit down, hit all these points, because then like you've covered all your bases. There's not like, you get transferred back to us for us to tell you, okay, well, did you check this? And then you go back to them. I'm like, write all this shit down, And she's like, thank you so much. She's like, you're the first person who actually is explaining things and making things make sense and why it's not working and how it should be fixed. I'm like, it's not your phone. Because, like, she brought her phone over when she, like, switched service. So if her phone was working fine before, it's your fucking provider. But yeah, Xfinity's like, yeah. I'm like, then go get fucked.
What's the point of, if you fucking know what the issue is and how to fix it, what is the point of sending them to us? Because we obviously can't fix it, and now they're just going to be even more pissed off when they go back to you, so fuck off.
Well, think about it this way. We have plenty of reps who don't know what they're doing, so they'll say, oh, go contact your cell phone provider, your internet provider, whatever the case may be. So chances are it's probably the same situation on their end. They just don't really know what it is, so they're like, oh, go call, your manufacturer. So, I think it kind of goes both ways, unfortunately. But the shitty thing is because we know what we're doing and we know how to, like, refer them correctly. Not everybody does, and so we get the shitty, pissed off customer coming back because no one knows how to, like, communicate properly.
Oh, back to the Wi-Fi calling.
Yes.
I looked at one of our knowledge areas to get info from. I don't know, what should we call it? It was Gather.
Yeah.
But it literally says tier 1 steps do this. So I got it in just a regular queue. So I just did the tier 1 steps.
Yeah.
Then I go to the tier 2 steps. It says get their service provider on the phone. It gave me AT&T, all the other ones. Ask AT&T. Had to burp again. Whew.
I thought your audio cut out, and I'm like, oh, please. We've had such a good episode if the audio fucking cuts right now.
No, I had to mute because it was just spaghetti and White Claw. But, alright. So, then it says, under AT&T, ask them to submit basically a ticket to their engineering. Ask for the ticket number, and if they don't provide one, it's because they did not submit anything. And that made me die. I was like, our own little article area.
Well, that's actually really funny because I didn't even know that. But I'll tell like customers like, oh, have them do XYZ, like your provider, and if they do, like, get the ticket number and give it to us. Even though, like, ticket numbers, like, whoever they call and get next, like, they're obviously, that ticket number means jack shit to that rep. But, like, yeah, that's actually really funny because I didn't know that our engineer said that, and I literally tell customers to do that. Like, that's great. I love that.
I love that. I know.
I'm thinking 2 steps ahead, apparently.
Little savage. For real, though. How do you become a part of engineering?
Well, it's because I know that they're too lazy and they're not doing shit.
Oh, that's not us. Like, oh my god. This dude called me from Cricket because his wasn't activating. Brand new phone. Like, first of all, 24 hours. Oh, side note, every time you turn off before it's actually activated, does that reinstate the 24-hour wait period? Have you heard of that?
Good question. I actually don't know the answer to that one.
Okay, because they told us that.
My assumption was it was 24 hours from when they get the new device activated, or if they, like, switch providers, like, 72 hours from their switch. That's what I was always informed.
Okay, that makes sense too. And I told him, if you waited, no, they haven't. So, literally in the background, the fucking Cricket guy is talking shit to me. Like, I'm telling him, okay, let's wait. I'll set up a callback for you. And he goes, you better get a ticket number or a reference number from them. You better get a reference. And I go, I already emailed it to you. Would you like to also write it down? And he's like, they already sent one. And I'm like, yeah, of course I did. Because we're not jackasses like you guys. And then the guy's like, I think I said, well, it might be the phone, but we just want to double check. And the dude from Cricket got offended. It's not the phone. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you created this phone. Like, it's our product, so why are you upset that the phone doesn't work? That would be our product. But he got pissed, and I was like, you know what? I am getting off this call. Go to hell. I'm going to pretend that I'm calling engineering and go fuck yourself.
That's so annoying.
Well, do you have a fun story? Because I do have my big one. You know.
Well, I mean, I've got a real good one, but I'm gonna save it for Sunday. I've got one that got me about 75% riled up. So, as I've explained, I get so many computer calls, it's not even funny, but I've just kind of like accepted that this is my life at this point. And so I get this guy, and he goes, hey, or no, sorry, it was an elderly lady. She goes, hey, I've got all these viruses on my computer. I really need help. Last time you guys had me do a bunch of complex steps. I'm hoping you can walk me through all of it again. I'm like, okay, yeah, no worries. So I walk her through, you know, a lot of the basics, clear the cookies, the history, force quit, restart, all that fun jazz. And basically, it wasn't actually like a virus or anything. What was happening is every time she would open up her web browser, her homepage was Google, and as soon as she would type in like Washington Post, for instance, it would pop up and say powered or search powered by Yahoo. I'm like,
oh yeah, like
okay,
the search marquee thing.
Yes, and so I'm like, okay, let's screen share because now you got me curious. So I do screen share with her, and you know, sure enough, she was reading it to me correctly. So I check all of her web browser settings. Everything is set. You know, homepage is Google, search is Google, new tab is Google. Like everything across the board was exactly how it's supposed to be. No extensions, no profiles, no nothing. Right? Everything looked crystal clear. And so I'm, you know, a little baffled and a little confused. And it was actually the first time I've ever seen it. Just like I've seen that like search marquee thing, but like this looked different. So because I wasn't familiar with this exactly, I'm like, well, I'll reach out to a computer senior advisor. I don't need them to take over the call. I just like point me in the right direction. So at least then I know what I'm looking for, what to do, that type of situation. And if it's, you know, out of my scope of support and they have to take it over, so be it. So I get this customer or this computer rep on the line, and I explain everything to him. He's like, they need to call Google. I'm like, for what? He goes, well, it's a Google problem. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a web browser problem. He's like, no, it's Google. I'm like, no, it's not. So I reiterated exactly like I said, like all the issues. And he's like, well, then there's a profile. I'm like, I already looked. Well, then there's an extension. I already looked. Well, then it's a Google problem. I'm like, no. And he's like, well, then the settings are changed to Yahoo. I'm like, no. I'm like, you aren't listening to me then. And he just swore up and down. Like, basically he was repeating what I was saying. He was, like, telling me to check things I already did, and I told him I checked. And then he just kept saying, contact Google, contact Google. I go, are you refusing to take over this call? And he goes, well, I don't need to take it over. She can contact Google. You need to tell her to contact Google. So I still have her. I tell him, I'm like, thank you so much for not helping me. I said, I'll figure it out on my own. Have a nice day. Disconnect. So because this lady said that she's had this same issue before and someone has already helped her with it, I start digging because I'm like, well, I already have her on hold. Let's see what the fuck I can figure out. And so I finally find like an old case from like December of this same exact thing happening. And all of the notes, either the grammar is so bad I can't fucking read it, or the shit that they're saying they went through and did literally does not exist. Like in our settings, like those settings literally do not exist. I will look at settings until I'm blue in the fucking face. They do not exist. At this point, you know, I get her back in the line, apologize for the long wait, and I tell her, I don't tell her I talked to a senior advisor. I'm like, you know, I did some research, and unfortunately I'm kind of coming up empty-handed. So I went ahead and I found one of the old calls from, you know, the same instance happening. I said, and I'm going to be honest with you, the last rep's notes, either the notes aren't great or they don't make sense and they're talking about things that don't exist. She's like, well, you know, they had me click this, this, and this, and it was so complicated and I can't remember. I'm like, no worries. Like, that's why you're calling the company. Like, it's all good. I'm like, just for shits and giggles, run a malware scan for me. Like, that's the only thing we hadn't done at that point. But I figured that this was, like, more settings-based. I didn't think it was just a fucking malware scan. Sure enough, quarantine the fucking malware, restart it, and the problem is goddamn solved. I told her, I said, next time this happens, just run a malware scan. I said, if you want to call, you're more than welcome to call. I said, just run a malware scan. And she goes, okay. I said, okay. Have a nice day. And I was just so mad because, like, she was nice, she was cooperative, like, everything I was telling her to click, and, I mean, there was a few times she kept closing out of things. I'm like, no, don't close out, okay, reopen it. But, like, for the most part, she was, like, nice and calm and, like, just wanted to get shit figured out. And this fucking computer rep, I'm just like, what the fuck, dude?
What a douchebag. It's a Google.
I was so mad, because I'm just like, you didn't even attempt to help me. And you're, like, just trying, same instance of, like, what we're talking about with, like, pawning them off to an internet provider or cell phone provider or, like, to us, like, the manufacturer. Like, you literally, he claimed he never saw it before, but he's a computer senior advisor, refusing to take over the call. And I literally was, like, so baffled. I'm just like, how? Why? I'm gonna punch the fucking wall right now. Yeah.
I'm gonna kick some ass.
Yeah.
Seriously though, whenever that aggravates me when nobody wants to take the time. Why not? I love long calls. If the person's not an asshole and we actually resolve something, you've killed part of my day and now you're happy. Like, what more could you want? Love a short and sweet call, but really, whenever I'm fucking bored and I don't want to talk to people and I get some, like, person who doesn't understand anything and I just go step by step and I'm like, let me know if you need me to repeat anything. Let's screen share.
Alright, so you said you got a banger for us tonight.
I got a juicy boy. He's coming your way.
Alright, hit us with that banger and we'll wrap her up.
Okay, so, my head has just been spinning this whole week. I don't even know if I've mentioned this person before. I'm pretty sure I mentioned them last time. God, am I doing 2 part 2s of long, shitty calls with idiots? So it's basically the guy who was sending me, like, 10 plus emails a day. And I've been working him.
Oh, you have not talked about this.
Oh, okay.
Or at least I don't think so. I mean, I'll have to re-listen to all the fucking episodes that I just re-uploaded, but, like, fuck.
Yeah, by the way, guys, our fucking audio, way to fucking tell us. Well, one friend did. I'll be y'all's.
Yeah, but even then, they didn't tell us about all the other episodes.
Oh, and it has been? Well, actually, I'm about to read something to you right now. And you're going to be like, you dumb bitch. Just found another big gap of silence on the Rated R episode, and then he gave me some times. So he was about to tell us. I think he just started listening today. But I was like, okay, I'll tell Megan, and then I think I only told you about newest episode. But yeah, I saw he sent that, and I was like, okay. But still, he's the only fucking person who said anything. So, big doozy boy. Just in case I did listen to it last week, or in case I did mention it last week, just to recap, it's this guy who sent his phone to the repair center through Best Buy, and they lied to him about when they sent it out. He literally was without a phone for over a month. Like, they told him...
Oh my god.
Yeah. They literally said, once it leaves our store, it's out of our hands and it's in our company's hands. And I was waiting for it to reach the depot, and they didn't even send it out until a week after he dropped it off. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He was without a phone from April 20th. Or no, he called me April 20th. The April 4th until the 3rd of May. The 2nd or 3rd of May. His spouse went out of town, didn't have a phone. He was literally just emailing me. But because that was his form of communication, I was getting 10 plus emails a day from this dude. And I told him...
Well, shit, if I was without a fucking phone for that long.
But it was novels. Just page after page of telling me how much our company sucks, Best Buy sucks. I'm the only person listening to him. He would literally write in all capitals, "Anne, you are my advocate. You are my savior. Please help me, Anne." And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you're insane. So, obviously I told him email me anytime you want. These are my hours. I probably can't reply to every fucking email you send me, but I will reply to the most important ones. None of them were important. All of them were just him telling me he still hasn't gotten his phone, which I told him the entirety of me even helping him was to track his phone and make sure it got back to Best Buy. That's all I said I'd do because he was upset. I didn't want him to have nobody to reach out to. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. Here's my email. So then I finally tell him, hey, it's at the depot. I'll tell you when it leaves. Then 10 more emails. Like, I honest to God think I got 100 emails from this guy from April 20th until this week. So then he's just like, I can't believe this. This is so inconvenient. Then he starts getting mad, demands 2 free of the newest phones that were just released for him and his spouse. He said for his inconvenience, he better get like some sort of compensation or an appeasement. And I'm like, okay, first of all,
did you start this interaction with him when you were already a senior advisor? I probably would have given him I would have given him 1 free phone. I wouldn't have given him 2, but I would have given him 1 for his inconvenience. I mean, as long as he wasn't a dick to me.
Well, that's where it came and got weird. I reached out to my team lead and I go, he wants a new phone. And they're like, well, we didn't fuck up. Best Buy did. And I go, okay, well, he has been whatever advisor he called at the beginning of April. Like, they didn't even tell him to go to the
an advisor with our company. So because the advisor with our company said, go to Best Buy, and then Best Buy dropped the ball, and he was without a phone for that long, I absolutely would have. Because then, essentially, in a roundabout way, that very first advisor set false expectations.
That's true, actually. I didn't even think of that, to argue that with her. So, she told me, offer him a phone case or a phone charger when he gets his phone back.
Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know that customers, for literally the smallest inconveniences, will get free headphones?
So I said that to her. I go, right, don't we give people... I know that I'm not going to hand out... Or don't we give people headphones? I'm not going to hand them out, like, left and right, obviously. But if they're due to someone who has not been with a phone... So then I leave her nesting class, and now I'm in my new team lead. And he finally gets his phone back, and he's like, call me. So I called him 3 times. He didn't answer. I emailed him, hey, just called you. 3 more days go by. He goes, please call me. So I called him, and he was like, so happy, so cheerful. And he's like, well, so what can you do for me? And I go, listen, I'm really trying to get you something. You're definitely going to get an appeasement. Whether it gets approved or not, I'll get in trouble for it. This dude is like, I feel so freaking bad for him.
This would be more than an appeasement at that point, because, like, an appeasement would be as if, like, they cracked their screen because they weren't offered insurance when they went and bought it from one of our stores, or wasn't informed that it was an option, or some shit like that. So, like, you can get a appeasement exception code. What you would want to be doing, and I'll bleep out the word, but you're going to want to do because straight up give them something for free. And then that way, like, they don't have to send us anything. They don't have to put a card on file, like, anything like that. So when the time does come, and you might want to just, like, straight up ask your leader to, like, hop in a web chat with you. Like, so you could talk, like, for real instead of text, like, typing everything. But I'd be like, hey, here's the situation. This is what he's demanding him. Here's what I think we should do for him. Like, try to, like, meet him in the middle. And even if you don't give him, like, the brand newest model, like, and you go, like, a step down instead of, like, the most expensive one, like, at least try to find something for him. Because, like, I absolutely, like, if he was nice and he dealt with all that shit, I would be working my ass off to give him something. More than a fucking charger or a phone case.
So I told patients that I was like, I'm not giving him a charger or a phone case. So I asked him what he wanted. I said, please don't go crazy. Here's what you can select from. So I did create a crew. I sent him a wireless charger, like a charging pad. He's like, I'll take one of those. That's great. So I was like, cool, that's fine. This is free. Here you go. It was $60. Sorry that I can't send you a phone. literally my team lead said it won't get approved, so I just didn't do it anyway. But I was like, okay, sure. So then I was like, I explained everything. I go, you'll get tracking. I can track it. I have my own system here. So then he emails me, where is it? That's all he said. And I replied and I was like, hey, whatever his name is, where's what? The tracking? I'll let you know whenever it gets shipped out. You probably haven't gotten tracking yet. And he goes, no, where is my wireless charger? Matter of fact, make it 2. I can't believe this. You, like, telling me, he's like, you're gonna send me another one. I need one for home and one for work because I couldn't get a phone. I want a wireless charger. And so I didn't respond. And I was like, okay, I'll get back to him. Next day I came in, he goes, actually make that 3 because my spouse needs a wireless charger. So at this point, he wants me to send him like 4 wireless chargers. And I'm like,
No.
Absolutely not. And Patience saw my inbox and she was like, is this still the guy that we already sent something to? And I go, yeah. And she's like, just absolutely not. She's like, tell him the one thing's on the way and he will just have to deal with it. So I told him, you know, you've got your charger on the way. I'll give you an update. Mm-hmm. He emails me again today. Still no shipping with like 8,000 ... And I'm like, cool. You're a really great customer. Like, yes, I wish I could have given you a phone. I'm so new at this that I didn't know that I could just kind of do that. But he's getting so fucking annoying. And I can't believe how many emails he has sent me.
At that point, I absolutely would not give him more than one. Like, now he's being too demanding, and he, like, if he had been that demanding at the very beginning, that's where I would have given him a fucking charger or phone case. Like, I would have basically told him to fuck off. But since he was chill, like, I mean, technically I feel like a wireless charger, like, at least it's okay, but it's very low end. But because he's so demanding, I would just been like, no. And right, I dead ass would have, like, typed up an email and been like, hey, look, there's a global pandemic that's still in play. Our warehouse is completely backed up because a lot of our locations are either closed still or by appointment only, so we have a lot of devices going in and out right now. I apologize about the delay. As soon as it's been shipped, you will be receiving a tracking number, as well as I will keep track and let you know that it's been shipped as well. And kind of left it at that. Because, like, that's the thing that pisses me off is these customers, like, and not even just, like, you know, ones who got fucked over in a roundabout way. But, like, you know, there's still technically a global pandemic going on. And because a lot of people either don't feel comfortable going into a store or don't have access, like, our warehouses are fucking jam-packed. Not to mention, they have to still be cut back and limited because only so many people can be within a vicinity. So, like, I get it. It's frustrating. You want your stuff. But at the same time, like, there's only so much we can do.
But we're inconveniencing them and their life, and everything needs to work perfectly, and everyone needs to be at their fucking beck and call, and because somebody uses their computer for work at home, so do we. That's literally what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone is dependent, and yeah, it sucks that all this shit is fucking everything up, but good God, everybody else is going through it, people. Remember that before you fucking yell at us.
What cracks me up, I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like I have more customers who have, like, really old devices or, like, at least a couple models and years behind, that it's like, if they're having problems and we can't fix it in the drop of a fucking hat, that, you know, they're more pissy than the people who have, like, newer devices that are having problems. They're like, hey, I got this phone that was... how many 6, 7 models behind that won't keep charge. You're going to give me a new battery for free. Fuck we are. You've had that phone for 6, 7 years. You've been using it for 6, 7 years. You want the fucking battery replaced, go buy one. But instead, they'd rather bitch about that phone because they don't want to go out and either buy a new one or upgrade on their phone plan. Like devices don't last forever.
Right. Oh, I had some lady call me with a fucking... I don't even know how it was still working. Like, and then she goes, I can't make calls. I said, then how are you calling me right now? Wi-Fi. And I'm like...
You know why? The 4 and 4S only supported 3G. and cell phone providers no longer offer that service. They only do LTE and 5G. So if they no longer, then of course she can't. I think
Get a new fucking phone.
I think the 5s had LTE. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. So it's not even like the manufacturer; it's still the cell phone provider.
I know. I was like, turn the phone off and turn it back on, and then she never did, and I just cleared out the case. I was like, I don't give a shit, bitch. Go get a new fucking phone. Do we have any stories? No surprise.
Even if we did, we'd
Guys.
probably save them so we can do an episode together with all of them.
Yeah. A mini.
Okay, so guys, this is the end of our episode. We're wrapping this one up. All of our episodes have literally been deleted and all re-uploaded, and if I have to delete them and re-upload them yet again within the next couple of days, I may have to, but I'm going to listen to them yet again and see what the fuck's going on with our audio. But in the meantime, if you're having any problems listening to any of our videos through any of our streaming services, everything's good, and like I haven't seen any issues on YouTube, so you're always welcome to listen on there. I know the only inconvenient thing is like you have to have the screen lit up and you can't have it like locked and stuff, which is kind of annoying, but like YouTube be doing that. Otherwise, we're still on all the social medias. We still have our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. I need to upload some more clips onto TikTok. I've been meaning to do that, but I've been working on like all of our other shit. We have a Reddit now. Go check out our Reddit. So like, if let's say you guys are too lazy to go post your stories on our website, go post them in Reddit, and I'll read them. We'll read off of our Reddit page then. So like, if Reddit.
Yeah. Ooh, for real. Fun. I love that.
But
well, customize. You know, I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I gotta get stickers. I gotta get shirts. And I'm like, how do we not have any yet? But we will, and then I'm gonna wear the fuck out of them, especially those sweatpants.
So our the promo code for you guys did expire April 30th. I did go ahead and renew that through the end of May. So I'm going to challenge you guys again, if you are interested, either go to our Facebook page or our Instagram, and you can go and search through our posts and like and comment for engagement, but you can also go and find that promo code, and that'll give you 10% off of your order. So if you are interested, go check out either Facebook or Instagram, and you will find the promo code to save a little bit of coin. So I'm giving you another chance. So extra, go check it out.
Yeah, get it. Go get it while they're getting good. God. Thanks, guys. We love you, and this is fun, and I hope that we don't do... What the hell was I trying to say? Hope that Megan doesn't have to fucking delete our audio every goddamn week. That's hard work.
If you guys notice any audio issues, please immediately, like, I don't even care what social media platform you choose. I don't care whether you text, like, Annie, you email us, whatever the fuck it is. Just let us know, because one of the episodes was from a few weeks ago. And, like, I listen to it when I edit it, I listen to it when I review it, and then I upload it. And I just let it sit. And so now I'm going to go through and listen to all of our YouTube channel, or all of our YouTube videos again, to make sure everything's good there, which from what I know of as of right now, they all are fine. But then I'm going to listen to it on, I prefer Spotify myself personally, but when I was reviewing the clips, it was happening on everything. It was happening on Stitcher, Overcast, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. So it was glitching everywhere, and it was for a short period of time. And so I was trying to figure out if maybe, like, we got censored, maybe. But even then, like, I was re-listening to those parts of the clips on the raw files, and, like, we weren't saying anything in there that was, like, against the law or, like, not allowed to be listened to. I've listened to plenty of vulgar fucking podcasts before, so, like, what we were saying in that instance was tame. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I tried to resave all of the raw files again, and it was still occurring, so I'm going about this a different way. So please, guys, if it's happening again, let us fucking know, just so I, like, save everybody a headache. You can listen to it and not miss parts of our episodes, as well as, you know, save me and Annie some headaches, so Annie's not mass texting me, hey, 18 to 33 is just completely silent. Well, fuck, okay, hold on. Let me delete every episode we've made. So thankfully, it's early, and we've caught it now, instead of, like, being 20 fucking episodes in, and this shit happening. So, just let us know immediately, and I will do whatever I need to do to fucking resolve it. I will delete the episode, re-upload it, and get it fixed. But just, we need to know, is all.
Thanks, guys.
Rant over.
Yay! We did it. Another one down. Can't wait for Sunday.
Yes, stay tuned. Our next podcast episode, again, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. But we're going to do goth themed. So watch me and Annie in our full-on emo fantasy with thick black eyeliner and heavy metal tees. It'll be a good time. But,
spooky.
Okay, Annie, wrap us up. Get us out of here.
Again, we're gonna get the heck out of here, guys. We're gonna skedaddle. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks for listening. Seriously, we do this for you. And stay tuned. And please watch our YouTube next week. It's gonna be the best. But again, I'm Annie.
And I'm Megan, guys.
Bye.
Bye.